This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Here are your hosts, Sean Green and Ryan Kramer. I can't believe we're letting these guys on my network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast live. Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog. So we're both going to have an irrational amount of money on our new
He
personal.
was very confident. I mean,
new friend of the program.
Yeah, no, it was a great hang. Shout out to Rolly. I'm sure he gave Bill a heart attack with some of the bleeps in the first segment, but awesome dude and great hanging. How could you not root for this is the problem. Like, once you meet some of these athletes, you instinctively root for them in all situations.
I like how he boiled down boxing to a layman amateur and just said you try to hit him in the face.
Well, I had a lot of notes prepared of like trying to act like I was a boxing aficionado. Like, all right, you're gonna set him up with the cross and the jab, and I know you use this against. He's like, just punch him in the face. Yeah, I like that though. Sometimes it is just that simple, and you want simple. I'll tell you simple. You got to be signed up at VSiN. If you haven't already, head over to VSiN.com/subscribe. Get the summer special from now until August 1st. You get everything for just $59. And, of course, especially those betting splits. Not only do you get Circa, you also get DraftKings. Two opposite ends of the spectrum, two different client pool. It's great for gathering insights on where the public's at, where the sharp's at, the bets versus the percentage of handle on every game across all major sports. Sign up today, VSiN.com/subscribe. We went from boxing and now to the man in the box joining us on the line from the Bottom Line Bombs podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Mr. CJ Sullivan, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. What's happening, CJ?
What's up, fellas? Yes, man in a boxing. Great interview there with Raleigh Romero. That was fantastic, and I know exactly what happened. As also as a guest who once let a few naughty words slide a couple times. Actually just once. But then I got the wrath of Bill 80 in between breaks, and I imagine he did the same thing to Romero. Probably scared him, startled him, like scared him straight, if you will, and he won't ever do that again. But I definitely have money on him.
I just imagine Bill walking, just like Tony Soprano walking into the Bada Bing, grabbing the phone off the wall and just smashing him in the face.
That Bill just whispers in the ear like Christopher, at that club. Don't make me act up in public here. And Raleigh knew exactly what to do. And he cleaned his act up for the second segment.
Kramer, you can see that futures glow from CJ.
Oh, yeah.
Because of his UConn Lady Huskies. And, of course, producer Johnny coming into the show. We got a big guest. Does he want to talk about the guest? Prep for the guest? No. First thing he asked me is, oh, Sean, how you feel about selling that future to CJ? Like, oh, great. Thanks for asking, Johnny. Now, CJ,
I wasn't even going to bring it up. But
yeah,
all right, go ahead.
I'll just put the clip out. I won't bring it up on air. Now, CJ, last I checked, Lady Huskies were rolling. I assume they beat UCLA, right? What was the final there?
They won by 34, I believe, which I mean, not bad for the going against the number one overall seed in the women's tournament to beat them by 34. But for us, and I mean us Lady Huskies, that's right around our average for the tournament of what we are destroying teams by. So, all right, we have one more game to go to the rematch everyone wanted against the Lady Gamecocks there in Dawn Staley. Going to be a tough foe. Maybe it'll be within 20. Who knows? But yeah, as we know, I mean, this is I know we have a confession segment coming up. This one made me feel good. Now I feel like this is one that you should kind of feel bad about, Sean, because it's there's nothing wrong with selling a play, and that's what happened. We all know a couple weeks ago I was in studio for your speed bet segment. I mean, and I gave you the Lady UConn Huskies to win it all at 3-1. Before the tournament started. You were not happy immediately. You were not happy. And when I brought receipts to show you how unhappy you were about it, and once you got the ticket, you acted like someone handed you a French theme paper. You're like, what do I do with this? What is this? Is this currency? I don't get it. And I say, yeah, you cash it in 3 weeks. That's all. And you get, and then I'll give you free money. You didn't want it. I bought it off you. No problem. But then what you made a mistake is you announced it pretty publicly. you said I'm going to openly root against UConn.
That was
in my ticket.
Yes.
I thought you were better than that. That's my fault. I should not have done that. But you're like someone who broke up with a girl and you want her to do bad.
Yes,
you wish
course.
nothing bad about her, but you're the one who broke up with her on a public forum.
So
let her live her life. Let Paige live her life. Let me live my life, and let me catch this thing.
Let me quick before you we move off of it. The current price of that ticket. UConn is minus 265 to win the national championship.
Well, because I mean the elephant in the room, the Juju Watkins.
Well,
injury,
and
right?
what I completely missed here was
that was my only hope.
Gino and the Lady Huskies are also erasing the dominance of Mr. Hurley and the men last year.
That was a good angle.
Oh, man. You know how angry Hurley must be right now?
Italian. And Ryan saw the light immediately. I did bring a video with your producer, like a good talk show guest does. Roll the clip if you can.
All right, roll the clip that CJ prepared.
Let's just see what we're talking about here.
So now, CJ, what am I going to do with this UConn Huskies play?
You cash that in a month. You can. Right. I'll buy that off you right now if you don't want it. I'll buy that thing for you. He's buying it right there. Off the table.
Oh, look at this.
I mean, CJ's
AG buckets.
Buying my ticket out. That's a class act.
I just pretty much was gifted $300 from our host, Sean Green. I have the Lady Huskies.
Now I'm really rooting against these Lady Huskies.
The Lady Huskies, and they're back on top now. Paige buckets. Plus 300.
I might have to tail CJ and take a little of that UConn. After watching Sean trade $100 bill for $300, that seems like a great value. I'll be on it just for the content.
Yeah, get on that. Do you see people normally just throw $300 away like that?
Yeah, that was
Sean
crazy.
like throws it across the table. Wow.
All right, yes. Well, so yes, the point of this segment.
Sean doesn't like the way that the guest is making him look bad right now.
No. Well,
I didn't do anything. I mean, it's revealing himself. The way he just laughingly throwing the money across the table.
Sean's a zero rear view mirror guy. He doesn't like to look backwards.
I will start the confession segment. Forgive me, gambling gods, for I have sinned. My sin was, as we just saw, not only did I sell the ticket, but then I've been watching every single game using my gambling powers for evil, rooting against the UConn Lady Huskies. I was sitting up in the overhang bar, watching my Thunder ticket eat it, although I did dominate in the UFL. Both side and total came in, no problem. But I was watching the UConn, and I was sitting next to some UCLA people who were actually there for the game, and I was trying to cheer along with them, but there was not much juice happening for the Lady Bruins when they were down God knows how much in the third quarter. So forgive me, CJ, and the gambling gods.
Yeah, they look
for
good.
I'm
not going to say you're responsible for Juju's injury, but I tell you what, that Juju being out there does not help any. That's for damn sure.
CJ, you have to be a little worried. I mean, you've been just counting this ticket before it's cashed. Are you setting yourself up for disappointment?
Let me speak for CJ. No, have you watched the games?
Right. I mean, the games have been incredible. It's just been a match. It's been exactly how we wanted it to be. And I won this ticket immediately. As you know, with a future ticket, it's not if it wins. It's if you get CLV with it, or as I like to call it, CJV. And this Lady Husky ticket dropped from plus 300 to 220 after one game because they won their opening round. Another one of my best bets was Lady UConn minus 44 against Lady Arkansas State, and they beat them by 75 in that first game. And we were off and running after that. As a matter of fact, I'll get into my confession. I know we're doing a confessional bet here. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. And then I even told you this because the bet I had, I actually cared less about this than I did this Lady Husky bet for far less. Now I was looking at bets to confess about. And of course, you were there when I went through my NFL season pouch of sin there.
That was pretty fun.
Wood, that pile. I would need more of a Yom Kippur kind of situation there where you atone all day for all the sins of the year. That's just not enough for this segment. So I'll do my one confessional bet. It wasn't a bad bet. I'm not sorry for the bet or the number. My other future bet I had was Arkansas to make the Final Four at 50-1. It seemed like a great bet. And it was fun. And I was definitely rooting for it hard, probably rooting for this UConn bet even more. But I'm not ashamed of that. What I'm ashamed is that I allowed myself to believe in John Calamari again.
Yes.
And right after they beat St. John's, like, here we go. It's exactly how I wanted it. He's back. They got the talent. They're getting healthy. And what happened? He did what he always does. It was nostalgic, but like, oh yeah, this is why you don't believe in him, because he absolutely melts down. It's like he doesn't even know what basketball is. He's better off just doing the recruiting. And once the game starts, go have dinner somewhere. Go have a nice Italian meal. Don't bother coaching at all and just see what happens. Let the chips fall where they may, because he melts down again. And I could not believe the way he choked against Texas Tech. And I said, you know what? That's on me. I blame myself for that. So forgive me, Father, I've sinned. I will never believe in Calamari again to bring it home.
It was, and CJ and I were texting when they were up 16, and I could see he was, even over the text, he was licking his chops on that sweet Final Four, and I was on the money line. The final, it was
very rough.
And the worst part about that one was it wasn't even like a freak shot like Michigan State where they got backdoored or whatever. It was, you saw the meltdown coming a mile away, and you felt it.
Your car broke down on the train tracks, and it was one of those slow-moving freight trains.
You're out there trying to flag AAA down, and still you just see the slow-moving train coming right for you. Kramer,
and he makes you feel so much worse afterwards. Like, dude, should you call timeout? He goes, yeah, now I think about it. Now I normally don't, but now I look at it and I see what you guys see, and probably should have. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah, come on, man. Don't do that. That makes me more angry at you. Right. Kramer, real quick, do you have a betting confession?
Well, I went a little bit different angle. I was scrolling down the open futures, and I found that I made a bet late night, February 28th, on Taysom Hill to be the comeback player of the year next year at 100-1. Why did I do that?
No need for that.
Is that still live for the upcoming season?
Yes.
Theoretically, yes. Actually,
I'll buy that off you again. Call for a callback.
UFL picks when we return.
This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast live. Sean stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
It's ready to talk spring football.
Yeah, you got your spring football guy shirt on.
I do.
And, of course, spring also means baseball. And Rhythm, I know, just launched their new baseball product. I love Rhythm. Again, everyone's talking about, AI's doing this, AI's doing that. AI is also picking winners via Rhythm. Rhythm is the app that helps you build professional betting models, analyze trends, and make sharper picks for every game. It's a great tool, and I know what you're thinking, like, I don't know anything about putting together a betting model. That doesn't matter. With Rhythm, it's very easy. You adjust the sliders. They build one for you. If you don't even want to do that, you can just use their own models. Get started today with the 7-day free trial by downloading the app or visiting rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com. Hanging out with us, you know him, you love him, the man in the box, Mr. CJ Sullivan over on the Bottom Line Bomb Show. Kramer, I see cracked open the Spring King.
Shout out to Luis Perez.
Luis Perez, a spring football superstar? Question mark. Walk us through the book, Kramer.
Well, I haven't read it yet. I just got finished reading the foreword by Coach Bob Stoops, who, if you didn't know, he signs his name. National Championship 2000, winningest coach in Oklahoma history, 190 wins, inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2021. So
that's a hell of a signature.
Shout out to Coach Stoops. But yeah, it sounds like we were talking to JVT before the show. Sounds like Luis Perez was a hell of a guest down there on Radio Row.
JVT said he was the best interview that they had on Radio Row, Luis Perez. Apparently a world-class bowler as
Listen to this tagline. When readiness meets the moment.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, can we have the movie already?
Well,
give me someone with horrible throwing form playing Luis Perez in a low-budget football movie.
I mean, he's got the story. He taught himself how to play quarterback via YouTube, which I don't believe, but I'll buy it for the story. I'll put it into script. Go ahead.
Yeah. How does that happen? You just fire up YouTube. Here's how to be a quarterback. Come on.
I think a lot of kids today might say they've learned stuff from YouTube, so maybe it's just a generational thing.
Yeah,
that is true. I mean, we don't respect any profession. Like, I'll just YouTube it up. What are you doing? Heart surgery? Let me YouTube how to do that real quick, and I'll step in and do that.
I've definitely been YouTubing how to fix some electrical things recently.
They make it look so easy on YouTube.
I'd say with electricity, better to hire a professional.
Yeah, anything you might
bypass 4 years of trade school like that with a couple YouTube videos. That's all.
CJ, week 2 in the United Football League, and CJ also co-hosts on the UFL Gambling Podcast.
I do.
I was on the Stallions and the under 38.5. Those both came in on tonight's action. But CJ, were you, how you doing so far in the UFL season, and what's jumping out at you for week 2 here?
Yeah, we had a fantastic week 1. Matter of fact, shout out to your producer, Johnny, who said when I gave him my plays earlier today, he said he's going to go to the window from that. He was watching at the D last week and couldn't believe how accurate my plays were. So I'm motivated for him. I told him to relax a little bit. It's early, but still, I like it. And shout out to him also for helping out the clip. By the way, not to bring up the clip again, Sean.
Wow.
Since I am the first guest who ever brought a clip to your show, and there's an extended 8-minute version of that, which we can wait for the Patreon, that really goes into the detail of the speed bets and the whole segment. There's a lot of good footage of Kramer running around and everything. But anyway, let's shout out. Let's go to the UFL. I was on the under tonight, 37.5. I got a bad number, but we still got in there. Although there was almost some shenanigans at the end, some UFL league shenanigans, but we held on to that. I didn't know what to do with the side. Congratulations for hitting Memphis. In retrospect, it looks pretty easy since they did not lose. They have not lost back-to-back games since 2022 when they first entered the league, Birmingham. But it did take an injury to their quarterback on the first play, I think, to open things up for them.
At one point, they had scored 46 straight points, I believe, against Michigan. 46 unanswered points over 4 games against Michigan, which,
they own them.
It got close, though. I mean, I would say fortunate they lost their quarterback.
Kramer, if you couldn't tell, was on the Panthers, so he's making excuses.
The big bet was on the under, so we got home.
Okay. What about this? What about the Showboats Defenders game? Defenders shocked the world, beat the Stallions last week, but there was a lot of chippiness. I don't know. It feels like a letdown spot for DC. How are you seeing it, CJ?
It is a letdown spot. It's a Saturday night game on ABC going against the Final Four.
Great strategy by the league.
You're right. Well, you know what? I think this is ABC because usually they put an NBA game on this time slot. So they're like, we don't want to disrupt the Feathers. They'll even throw a hockey game on there. Like, you know what? Let's let this UFL – they keep bothering us for a Saturday night primetime game. Let's throw them up against the Final Four, see what happens. So – DC's got a great home field advantage. That's the only thing I'm kind of worried about here. Of course, with the beer snake down there at Audi Field. But it is a letdown spot. And Memphis, not a good team, but they played a lot better than I thought they were going to do last week. They played Michigan. Now, the final score was like 26-12, but that was not indicative of what it was. The yardage was pretty much even. There was a late pick 6 by one of the Nakua brothers that opened the score up at the end. I'm looking at Memphis here, plus the 8 for sure, and I'm going to sprinkle the money line, 310. When Troy Williams came in a quarterback, the thing with this league is every team's got 2 quarterbacks. I don't know if it's in their contract that they have to play them. Everyone knows which one is better. It's crazy, but let Troy Williams play, and this offense started moving the ball. And Adams leads the league in receiving after a big 93 yards. I think this is a great spot for Memphis. And DC, not only is it a letdown spot, they worked themselves up for that. I mean, granted, it was against the Dynasty Birmingham, 2-time champions, but their interim head coach, Shannon Harris, who's got no one left, but Greg Williams was there, but he made up some fake insult about Skip Holtz. He's like, "You called me a doorman." Yeah. And Skip's like, "What? What are you talking about?"
That was very weird.
That. I hope he just makes up a different insult each week for every coach. You called me a caddy. You called me what are you talking about? But I like Memphis a lot here. I think they look a lot better. And they got Ken Wisenhunt coming back, who had his personal he was off for week 1 for personal. I don't know if he forgot the wife's anniversary or whatever it was. But he's back week 2, so that's got to give you a little bit more confidence. It can't hurt this Memphis team, that's for sure. But 8 seems like a lot of points for a DC Defender team that we were just, put them in the bottom half of the league right before that big upset last week.
Yeah, love it. I think they're live. I'm with you. Get down on the points and a little sprinkle on the money line. Kramer?
I mean, I think and the reason to have this tune into this game, because if they let Greg do do the interviews again. Greg Williams, DC, for Defenders. If they let him do the interviews again, he was just completely it was almost like he begged for them to let him talk into the mic, and then it was every interview was just an amazing soundbite. Yeah, I'm with you. This was they did dump Gatorade, I believe, after the first game.
Right.
They literally dumped Gatorade. Now, I will say another reason to tune in. DC is one of the few places that will have a crowd, and the announcers are constantly checking in with the beer snake. So going from a league that once banned the beer snake to now it's the key attraction in DC. All of that being said, I'm taking the big numbers. We looked back to last year. You were not seeing a lot of big spreads this early in the season. So, yeah, I'm taking the points here.
One key we found in the United Football League is there's 8 teams. 1 or 2 are always just really, really bad, coached by guys who probably shouldn't be coaching a football team, let alone a professional one. Houston Roughnecks just seem like an auto fade. They're getting 10.5 or 10, depending on where you're looking, against Arlington and the Renegades. CJ, how do you see that one?
Yeah, as I say, I mentioned, as your boy Paulie says, I mentioned Paulie, until further notice, we are fading this Houston Roughneck team. Curtis Johnson, not only is he just looks clueless as a coach out there, his quotes make you even more confounded. You're like, oh my good graciousness. UFL has this thing called the Super Challenge, where you could challenge any play for anything that they didn't even call. Like, oh, maybe there was a holding on there, anything. And usually every coach says it for the most important play, like a touchdown that could beat you. And Curtis Johnson says, yeah, I don't really care about the importance of the play. I just want to be right. I just want to make sure I'm right so I don't look foolish. So if it's an offsides, I know it. He doesn't care if it's worthless. So you hear that. And then you had Anthony Johnson being terrible quarterback. Like, well, he's obviously not going to be quarterback again this week, right? Well, no, he won the job in training camp, so that's what we're sticking with. Yeah, but what about the game you just saw, though, where he was absolutely horrendous? At least Nolan Henderson did something. I mean, he had a quarterback rating of 8. Anthony Johnson, 8, which seems almost statistically impossible. So Arlington, you know how to talk about them. King of Spring, Luis Perez. I have a future. I know you think I mentioned it a lot of times, but for the CJV, it was 11-1. Now it's plus 420. They're the third favorite. I think they smoke Houston. Just lay the 10 with confidence. I would lay this up to a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
Houston's defense last week led up 273 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. So if you can get a bonus prop there, Kalen Ballage running back there for Arlington, who had a monster game last week, should have another monster week this week.
Also, if you can find team totals, Arlington team total over.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. CJ, 20 seconds. Why should we be betting on the Battlehawks laying 7.5 and or 7? Shop around.
Yeah, no. I took St. Louis here. They have the best home field advantage in the league, in the Dome in St. Louis, 15,000 people. It seems like the only city that actually cares about this league, and they're just so hungry for football. It's an XFL Conference Championship rematch from last year. San Antonio won in St. Louis, and Coach Tony Meatball, he's my guy. He's going to do some revenge. I mean, Manny Wilkins, he looked great last week. Of course, that was versus Houston. Who knows what it's going to be? But I do know one thing. Kellen Mond is bad for San Antonio. So I will lay the points, no problem with St. Louis here.
Thanks, CJ. Sports Betting Blackjack when we return.
This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast Live. I'm Sean, Stacking the Money Green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. Kramer, I would say 2 things you love: hoops and horses. And shout out to old VSiN. They got a little challenge combining the love of hoops and horses. Very easy URL to find, vsin.com/hoops and horses. This is a contest brought to you by First Bet. Shout out to them. Top pickers will receive First Bet vouchers that you can use to bet upcoming races on First Bet, including the Kentucky Derby on Saturday, May 3rd. So that's going to be a fun weekend. We got the Rolly fight on that Friday night, and then right into the hoops and horses and the Kentucky Derby from the hardwood to the home stretch. Play now at vsin.com/hoops and horses. Awesome weekend. Already excited.
Yeah, shout out to American Promise, who we already have some money on.
And I'm just doing the math. I'm realizing we're going to be having our show live while probably during the same time that the fight is going on.
What time is the fight?
I don't know. I don't think they announced the time.
I'd imagine they'll be. I mean, I guess if it's a major fight, they're usually coming out like 8:30ish, right? Maybe a little later.
So we'll see. That'll be fun. Maybe we get to react live to the fight.
Oh, well, we're gonna have a nice bet on the dog.
Oh yeah, 100%. Dog. We always bet on guys who are guests on the show. It's a simple formula. Kramer shuffled up the cards, which means it's time for Sports Betting Blackjack.
Should you hit?
Hit me.
You have 17, sir.
I like to live dangerously.
Should you stay? 5.
I'll stay. I also like to live dangerously.
Let's see what the guys choose this week on Sports Betting Blackjack.
Very easy. We play blackjack against a fictional dealer here, and our cards coincide with NFL futures. This time we are talking about win totals. So when we get our card dealt, it's also like we're getting dealt that NFL win total. We have to explain why it's a good card, why it's a good bet, why we're excited to do it.
Would you like a cut?
No, thank you.
I mean, it's very odd every time when you don't take a cut. We'll give the dealer a hand.
Showing a 5 of diamonds.
Very beatable. 9 of clubs for you, Sean.
9 of clubs, which coincides with the Steelers over, was that 8.5?
Oh, come on.
This is easy money. Kramer, tell me, when was the last time Mike Tomlin had a losing season?
2008.
Last I did the math, they're playing 17 games. He's going to go at least 9-8. Certainly scary that currently, as of this, actually, now the win totals just came out. This is one of the few that without the schedule, without the draft, I would bet now, because between now and when the season starts, I know Tomlin says he's fine with Mason Rudolph as a starting quarterback, and he has won games with Mason Rudolph, probably highlighting how good of a coach he is. I would bet this now, because at some point they're either going to draft a quarterback, maybe Shedeur Sanders 7-1. I don't think that's a bad play, or sign Aaron Rodgers, and or both. Either way, that might push this number up to 9. I don't know if just drafting Shedeur does it, but either way, this could go up based on what they do in the draft and based on if they end up getting Aaron Rodgers signed. So I would hammer the over right now, although I certainly would be, if there's one person that could throw a wrinkle in Tomlin's hot streak, it might be Aaron Rodgers as quarterback. So
cleaning up a couple things. Last time the Steelers did not finish 500 or better was 2003, before Tomlin started working there in 2007. During that time, they have had 4 8-8 seasons. So not under 500, but not over 8.5 either. But I like your logic. I'm not betting against. I mean, to your point, if Rodgers does get picked up by the Steelers, this feels like an auto. Well,
it depends what you're
getting. Well, it depends what you're getting with Aaron Rodgers here. But I will be intrigued if they do not sign Aaron Rodgers. This will be the greatest test.
I mean, if they really are going to start opening, if we're here breaking down NFL Week 1 and Mason Rudolph is the starting quarterback, I'll be very surprised. That's the ultimate game of chicken with Tomlin. You don't think we need I don't think we need a quarterback. You want to know how much? Look, we're starting Mason Rudolph.
All right, 2 of hearts.
2 of
for
hearts
me.
for Kramer.
Come on, give me something. Give me something delicious.
Oh, your boys, Ryan.
The Titans. Oh no, Tennessee Titans over 5.5 wins.
It is low.
There's some juice on the over. All right, so the case for this. So in general, I would say rookie quarterbacks make me want to take the under. The case for the over here is, one, I think Cam Ward could be an upgrade over the quarterback situation they had last year. 2, we tend to want to trust the structure of Callahan, the offensive line, coaching of his dad, and the division they're in is potentially quite weak. We don't know what we're getting out of any of these teams, really. Even the Texans, there's questions about. So 5.5, I believe, tied for lowest on the board.
Yeah, you can be a bad team and go 6-11.
So yeah, I think. But that being said, this is close to moving to 6.5. Rookie quarterback. All right, I'll take it at 5.5. But if it moves to 6.5, I'm off the position. And yeah, I think the main reason you like this, besides the fact that we went ham for the Titans last year, is purely their division. There's nothing stopping them from winning 3 games in their division. So then there's not much work to do elsewhere. All right. Sean, second card, 5 of spades.
Okay, 14, but it doesn't matter. Dealer's a 5. I'm going to be staying regardless.
Pretty strong.
Texans under 9.5 wins. Yeah, I think this is a strong play. I totally get it. Now, the reason for optimism, I think, on the Texans is Texans were one of the most injured teams in the National Football League. You look at those metrics of games lost to injury. Texans are going to be super high. But the under, it makes a ton of sense. They've had trouble staying healthy. CJ Stroud had trouble. He had that sophomore slump. Maybe the Colts are a little frisky. 10 wins is kind of tough in the AFC in general. They're also going to be playing the first place schedule, so that means they're going to be matching up against some decent teams. And correct me if I'm wrong, AFC South is matching up with who this year, Ryan? NFC East?
No. The NFC East is getting the West, I believe.
Okay.
I believe I'll double check it, but I want to say they're getting the North. But yeah, I mean, again, the other reason. I mean,
just looking at their opponents, it's not going to be a sure thing to get 10 wins for this Texans team.
Yeah, and also just talk about the churn of offensive coordinator. The offensive line is being completely
well, the fact that they fired their offensive coordinator, that to me is kind of a weird move for a team that was successful, that got to the playoffs, that won a home playoff game, and you're losing your coordinator. That could create some friction. CJ Stroud in a new system. These are all things to kind of fade them.
NFC West is the division.
Okay, NFC West. All right. Yeah, under 9.5. That's 9.5 is high for this Texans team. They could win the division at 9-8 because the AFC South is weird.
So I'm pretty relatively low on the entire division. They also have the AFC West, so it's a tough combo there. All right, 8 of clubs for me, Sean. I could be looking at a double down scenario. What do we got here? Seahawks over 8.5. My goodness, really gonna have to stretch to make this sound good. Into it. I don't like anything they've done this offseason. I don't like the reason you're optimistic is the coach started figuring out the defense. Every roster move that they made on defense worked. They fire their offensive coordinator. They get rid of the quarterback. They bring in Sam Darnold. They bring in a new coordinator. They get rid of DK Metcalf.
Yep.
They bring in Cooper Kupp. They've kind of made a lot of moves similar to last year with the defense. So the optimistic view is I believe in what this coaching staff is doing. I believe in their ability to identify players that are going to fit in their system. And the offense will be a structured, run-based, run-first offense that Sam Darnold can operate some play action. And they have 2 elite guys that can operate out of the slot, which is going to be real nice for those play action looks that he likes.
How's the slot?
And that's why this team goes over. That's a
great case, Ryan. You were really stretching.
Well, it's a strong case. I kind of was convincing myself I was going. My full transparency. My issue is with the coach, though.
Yeah.
And with my questions about the offense. But I was
skeptical of the coach last year, and they got it done.
Yeah, I just think they changed a lot about the offense. So if they're right, I think the team will be right.
They do have an upside. Kramer, you got a 10. Dealer's showing a 5. Double it.
I'm doubling.
Okay.
You're staying.
Yes, I'm staying.
All right. Doubling to a 9 of diamonds.
What do we got? Dealer 5. 10, monkey, 25, busted out.
We needed that. It was like 3 episodes in a row.
Yeah, good mojo, good vibes. We're both winners. Kramer's winning his double down. Speaking of winners, we are going to crown another winner. Speed betting. Rubber match. Me versus Kramer. Who can get down the kiosk and back and get a ticket? Tune in. Won't want to miss it. Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN.
This is the Sports Gambling Podcast live on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome back, everyone. Sports Gambling Podcast live. Sean, second money Kramer with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Just getting some blood flowing in the break.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know what you have planned for this segment, but
use your imagination.
Yes, we are going to be doing speed betting. Before we do, of course, shout out to sharpplays.com. You're ready to take your sports betting to the next level. Since 2011, same year we started the podcast, Sharp Plays has been killing it, building trusted relationships with major books, sports insiders worldwide. They got you with daily updates from what the top pro sports bettors, betting groups are wagering on. That's not all. They created a cutting-edge AI betting analyst, gives even more selections and reports. Best part is you can check out the Sharp Plays free content anytime. Explore all the records, including detailed online logs, right over on their website, sharpplays.com. Start today and get access to the best insights at sharpplays.com. All right, so very easy. We are going to run down to the kiosk, come back with a ticket that we want to bet on. Whoever has the lowest time wins. We have to start, I think, by having our hand on the center of the desk. Now, to spice things up a little bit, Ryan, we are going to make sure, or get a little interesting. We're going to make it a 3-leg parlay.
Okay.
So you have to come back to the studio with a 3-leg parlay.
All right. You want to go first?
All right. I will. I'll get ready.
Oh, I thought what is this? Doing some high knee? You got some unlimited Russell Wilson action going on?
Okay. When the producers put the clock on, I'll fire off here.
All right. And there he goes. There you go. A little bit of a false start, maybe. I'm not going to hold it against him. Let's see if he makes the same mistake. If you remember last time, he took the inside route, someone behind him, or someone blocked him with a hot coffee. He took the standard route. Looks like he's copying my approach. He's not running full speed though. Almost looks like he's got some sort of injury or maybe something in his shoe. He's at the kiosk now. I can see he panicked for a second. He could not find the category he was looking to wager on. There's a lot of time being wasted at the kiosk right now. I'm not sure. All right, so I see 3 legs were put in. Looks like he's getting ready to cash the ticket out. We're sitting at 46 seconds. The record I set a couple weeks back during March Madness, 53 seconds, will be safe here. That was a straight bet. He is struggling with the making of the bet. There is a lot of panicking going on right now. I'm going to guess he ran into maybe a max payout at the kiosk. He is falling apart. This is for those behind the glass who took Sean, he completely melted down under pressure. He's not exactly someone to take accountability, so there's going to be at least 2 things that he'll blame that were outside of his control. And he's coming in the first door. We're looking at about, all right, 1 minute, 28 seconds.
Good luck, Ryan. Good luck.
I already know what you ran into, I believe. 1 minute, 28 seconds.
Yeah, good luck.
1 minute, 28 seconds.
That's all I'm going to say. Good luck.
Do you want to share the 3-leg parlay?
Sure.
I saw you were having some issues at the kiosk.
Showboats plus 7.5.
Care to comment?
Renegades laying the 11, and Battlehawks laying the 8.5.
Okay. I like that. You're running short, a little bit short on breath.
Yeah.
There was a panic moment at the kiosk. It looked like the ticket failed to print.
There was a couple issues. Yeah. We'll see how you do.
Well,
I don't want to reveal what I ran into.
I already know what you ran into. I talked about it live play-by-play, but I believe you had a max.
You said you had some of it right. You had some of it wrong.
Okay.
Let's see if you can beat it.
All right. I take the trusty $100, put it in the inside pocket. I am ready whenever you guys want to go.
Go. 2, 3. Kramer's going to be in a world of hurt. Now, I know he's got the IFB in, so he can hear. It is fun to watch. Let's see Kramer's head run by the studio. Okay, he's at the kiosk. He thinks he's got it all figured out. All right, he's building a parlay, I assume. Oh, he hit the same wall I hit. Oh, another wall. Oh, he is panicking. He is panicking. We is still at the kiosk. And he's getting something printed. I mean, we're at 50 seconds right now. Uh-oh, he might beat me. 55. 1 minute. Ah, damn it.
Bang!
Beat me by 102. All right, Ryan. What did you run into?
I ran into the same problem.
Okay.
I hit some sort of limit.
Yeah.
So I have a $5 receipt.
Yes, I also have a $5. They maxed you for doing the 3-team parlay. They maxed out the payout. So if you did a normal 3-team parlay, you couldn't put in the full 100. You could only put 95 in. So then I'm not going to leave $5 in the kiosk.
So yeah,
that's why I lost, was because Kramer got to scout me the entire time.
I already was aware. I already was thinking when I threw out the idea of 3-leg parlay. I knew that it would add a complexity.
Yeah. Well, also, too, I hit the 3 thing initially, and I didn't have the parlay selected. So that was part of my
I made the
fumble.
same mistake.
Okay.
It said I needed $200 more.
Yes, I hit that same one.
So I went with a Florida -2.5, Houston +5.
See, that was the other thing.
Villanova -3.
I went UFL, which in hindsight was bad because pro football was all the way towards the menu, all the way towards the right.
What are we doing with this $5 now?
Oh, we're going to bet it on something.
Something crazy.
Giants Super Bowl, Ryan? You've bet on worse. I mean, you got a Taysom Hill comeback player of the year bet. I'm sure you can find $5.
I think it would be also funny just to post the $5 ticket, like a screw it. I'm going all in on the Giants this year.
Nice. Well, yeah, it's a winner. $5.
Well, it's $250 to 1, I think. So
now this was unfortunate because Battlehawks are 8.5 here. Feel like I could find some better numbers, but Renegades
Sean,
11 +7.5 for the Showboats.
Reason you want to tune into our Thursday UFL show live, all of these numbers have moved at least a point or two.
Well, yeah, I mean, Showboats we picked at 8. Now it's down to 7.5. Renegades we picked at 10. It's up to 11. And then Battlehawks we had at 7. You were actually on the Brahmas. I'm on the Battlehawks lane, the 7. But here I got it 8.5.
Yeah, so the Florida, Houston, Villanova Final Four parlay. Granted, one of those teams is playing in the Crown Final Four.
That's still a Final Four.
$95 pays $566.
Yeah, mine's the exact same thing. $95, $566 returns me $661.
I gotta go have a conversation with someone. Let me get a 3-legger in the kiosk for $100. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it is. I don't know whatever it is trips off the max payout on the kiosk, but again, these are little insights we're learning. So I'm down. My record speed betting 1-2. Kramer's 2-1. But now I think moving forward, the winner has to go first.
Oh, okay.
Because there was clearly stuff you learned from watching me at the kiosk.
Okay.
I mean, pure speed, as we know, I beat you in the 40-yard dash.
As the world record holder, I will go first.
Well, no one has broke the minute mark yet.
No, I did. 53 seconds. I have all of our times in front of us. You've come in 104, 105, 128. I did 218 the first time where I casually took my time with the hustle. And then a 53.
See, that was the one time you went first.
And then the 53 seconds and then a minute 4. So the world record.
I feel like the guys behind the glass, they were split too. So
there was wagers.
Apologize to my backers. Now I feel like Rolly Romero, like a lot of pressure was on me. I let the fans down. Yeah. Sorry to the guys behind the glass and the viewers. I'm sure there's some side action. Maybe we can get Profit X, Ryan, to set some prices.
I'm going to add this to my, social media profile.
Oh, okay.
World record holder.
2-time winner?
Well, 2-time world record holder. Speed betting, straight bet, and speed betting parlay bet.
Okay.
2-time world record holder.
Those 2 separate records?
2 categories, yeah. You ever open up the Guinness Book of World Records?
That is true.
They got a record for everything.
Guinness Book of World Records, little known fact, was actually started and is still run by the Guinness Beer Company.
Yes.
They started it to settle bar arguments in Ireland.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great because you drunks will ramble about anything like, I tell you who the oldest guy was. And they finally decide, you know what? We're going to get bartenders. They're going to have a book that they can pull out and settle these bets.
And years later, guys like Joey Chestnut would be smashing more food in their face than you could ever imagine. Thank you, Guinness.
Hour 3 coming up, and it's going to be a lot of college hoops joining us to talk Final Four, the crown, all that and much more. Colby Dant from the College Experience when the Sports Gambling Podcast returns here on VSiN.